Welcome back to my channel. This is the PTA Coach. Great to have you guys this beautiful evening, this Sunday evening. I have a few things I'm going to share with all of us today. We're going to go over some practice style questions. Before I start, let me make sure my audio and video and everything is good to go. I appreciate you guys for joining at this time. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit the notification button so you know exactly when I come on. I appreciate all of you for what you do. And briefly, excuse me, I host workshops for a lot of you that are prepping for the PTA State Board exam. I host workshops to help you guys through the process and navigate the process of prepping for your exam and passing. So for that reason, I do a lot of coaching. Okay. I also coach students all over the country and also schools. Okay. So schools out there that need my help, that need me to come in and consult and coach their students to success, I also do the same thing. So it's very easy. The process to follow with that is you send an email to my email address. It's AKALUSO, the number 40 at gmail.com. That's AKALUSO, the number 40 at gmail.com. Send me an email and then we can establish a chat, find out what the things that you need, and get you the help you need from there. Now, the workshops are not free. I have to make that very clear. When you send an email, I give you details of how the workshop works, what's involved, and all that good stuff. Most of the time, I send you guys topics of things that I'm going to discuss in the upcoming workshop to prep you. And then when you come into the workshop, we dive straight in and deal with practice style exam questions. Okay. All right. So we do have a big exam coming up very soon. We don't have that much time. And so I tell you guys a lot in the videos that I use the word imperative a lot. I tell you guys we have to stand on business. I tell you guys the plan is to pass. And that's just what it is, right? We only have a certain amount of attempts to take this exam to get it. And so that's why I keep, emphasizing we need to take this serious. This exam hit different. We need to prep for it. And it is possible to pass. I passed this exam years ago, and we can all do the same. But just listen closely to some of the tips that I drop, especially on the YouTube channel. And a lot of you that join the workshop, we dive deeper, and I show you guys a lot of strategies to get this going. All right, so tonight it's all about musculoskeletal questions. Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Just give me 1 second. And please let me know if my audio is not doing what it needs to do or the video is not clear. That's why you see me I'm looking at my phone over here. I'm looking at the screen over here to make sure everything is fine, okay? So just give me 1 second. I appreciate you guys for being patient, okay? Thanks for being patient. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up my information of what I want to share, and then we'll take it from there. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think I found what I want to share. Give me 1 second. Let's just make sure it's the right one. Okay. All right, there it is. Okay, so we're going to start with question number 12. Question number 12 says, a physical therapist assistant observes the gait of a patient 4 weeks status post right knee arthroplasty. Which gait description would be most likely? Now, for this and also in the workshop, I've always told you guys that for everything that we do in here, I will point you to a reference point. So I want us to go quickly to total knee arthroplasty, okay? Once again, the book that I'm using, the reference that I'm using is this book right here by Score Builders. Sorry if I'm waving it at the wrong place, okay? So it's this book right here by Score Builders. It's a PTA exam, the complete study guide by Scott M. Gals. So you don't have to use this book. Any reference point that you're using, as long as it's legit and everything I'm saying here is at par with what you study and what you're reading, then I'm okay with it, okay? So a lot of you might be using apps or websites and things like that. It's fine. I just want to show you guys where I'm getting this information from. So for us to be able to answer these questions, I've turned this page to page 118, and it talks about total knee arthroplasty. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit and read this whole thing to all of you, right? Because I always tell all of us that I I don't come into the workshop and start reading slide and breaking down slides and all that stuff. So I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I want to point out a few things that will help you with this question. Okay. Now, let me just read this real quick. What is a total knee arthroplasty, right? It refers to the removal of the proximal and distal point surfaces of the knee, replacing them with an implant. So, typical question right here, okay? This patient is status post 4 weeks after having a right knee arthroplasty. Now, I want to show you guys something here real quick, okay? It says here, a total knee arthroplasty can be classified in several different ways, okay? The first classification is based on the number of compartments replaced. Now, let me ask you guys this quick quiz question and we'll move right along. What 3 bones make up the knee joint? What 3 bones make up the knee joint? Because that is, this question I asked is very, very relevant to what they're just talking about right here, okay? So I want you all to review that, okay? Come back to this question, search it up, and come up with the answer. Search it up and come up with the answer. So would it be increased circumduction of the right limb? Would it be increased cadence? Would it be decreased single support phase on right? Would it be decreased double support phase? I want you guys to search that up. As a matter of fact, what you guys can do for me is you can type the answer right now if you know what the answer is, right? Or after this, just send me a message in my channel right here. Just type a comment, say, hey, coach, question number 12, the answer is this, okay? All right, so let's move on to the next question quickly. A physical therapist assistant treats a patient who reports lateral elbow pain that the assistant suspects is due to epicondylitis. Which of the following patient profiles would be most expected based on the diagnosis? Now, if you watch a lot of my videos, I've told a lot of us that there's a lot of ways that questions could be asked about a pathology, okay? Now, this is one of the ways they're talking about lateral epicondylitis. Now, the question is, which patient profile? So for a lot of pathologies out there, it might affect a certain race. It might affect a certain age group, okay? It might affect a certain gender. Now, this is kind of like where they're going with this one. Which patient profile will be most expected based on the diagnosis? Is it A, 73-year-old with bilateral symptoms? Is it B, 64-year-old with unilateral symptoms? Is it C, a 50-year-old with bilateral symptoms? Is it D, a 42-year-old with unilateral symptoms? Which one is it? Okay, so once again, for that, I want you guys to refer back to, I'm on page 98, and read a little bit about epicondylitis. Let me just, right here. Or any resource that you have to study it. Read more about it, okay? There's different ways they can ask you questions about this. This actual page is talking about how to test to find out that the patient is having, or the patient is most likely has lateral epicondylitis. These are some of the tests that could be run. There's one called a Cousin's test, right? There's one that could be run to find out if it's medial epicondylitis. So I want you guys to go review that, okay? Once again, there's so many ways they can ask about this same thing. They could go into asking you questions about how is it treated? You use what? Iontophoresis, okay? And then you use what? Possibly dexamethasone. How is it delivered? What type of current is used? So there's so many ways they can ask you about the same topic, okay? So I want you guys to review that. And once again, when I say stand on business, when you go through the workshop with me, by the time you get ready to take your exam, you're prepped correctly because you're prepared to expect questions however they come at you, okay? However those questions come at you, you can get them. Now, I've also mentioned this real quick, and I'll try to pull it up here, okay? we have to know where our muscles are. I know there's plenty of muscles in the body, and there's so many things to remember. I do understand. I mean, sometimes I look at this book and I ask myself, like, how did you actually go through this book and learn all the things that you learned and take the exam and pass? I'm still like amazed, right? There's a lot of stuff. So I do understand when I tell all of you, hey, you gotta know this, you gotta know that. There's lots of stuff. As a matter of fact, each time I gain knowledge, right? Or each time I open this book or a resource or I read about a pathology, it's like brand new to me. Like I learn more. It's like layers and layers and layers of information. So with that said, we have to know about our muscles and know where they are. What if, for example, they show you a picture of an elbow and ask you to identify parts of the muscle of that elbow? Let me show you guys an example. Because anything I'm telling you guys, let me just say this real quick. The FSBPT has told us that they will be asking well-structured questions. So we also have to be well-structured in our approach, okay? So let me stop sharing the screen and let me see if I can find something like muscles that we can kind of review. 1 second here. Let me stop sharing there. And let me see if I can find muscles that we can review. Give me 1 second. Well, specifically lateral epicondylitis, right? We're going to look at the a diagram of the elbow. That's where I was going with that. Just give me 1 second. I pulled it up earlier. Let me see if I can show you guys. 1 second. Okay, I think I found it. Good. Okay, so do you guys see that? Lateral epicondylitis is also known as tennis elbow, right? We all know that. What about medial? Medial is referred to as golfer's elbow, right? Medial epicondylitis, also known as golfer's elbow. Okay, sorry. All right, so here is a picture of, I'm trying to see if I can increase this, guys. I think I can. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Right here. Okay. Right here. Yes, very good. All right, so anything to me, if I was in your shoes and I'm studying for this exam, I'm saying to myself, anything is fair game, right? So here is a diagram of the elbow joint. Okay. Here's the diagram of the elbow joint. Now, we need to know what these things are. When I say things, I mean muscles, bones, tendons, right? So for example, this is our humerus, and down here is our lateral epicondyle, okay? And right next to that is the extensor muscle tendon. And then here we have our extensor muscles. Now, another question that I think might be asked, and once again, I don't know, okay? I don't know what's being asked and stuff like that. But if I'm studying for this, I'm saying to myself, what are the questions can they ask? Just looking at this diagram, I can think of 2 or 3 questions that could be asked of this. They could ask questions like, what causes this? Okay, we know it's from overuse. Okay, and that's where it gets its name from, tennis elbow, because people who play tennis and they form the habit of always using their elbow. They're doing that elbow range of motion, twisting, and all that. So that's where that comes from, right? But it's not just tennis players. It could be anybody that overuses that muscle. Now, another question that can come from this is, what muscle is being overused or what is being damaged, right? You want to think of muscles like the extensor carpi radialis brevis. See, now I'm teaching. I told you guys I'm not going to teach. Guys, this is just high level overview stuff. Like, once again, if you come to workshops, same thing. I'm not going to throw like a bunch of slides at you, okay? But I'm just saying to myself, if I was in your shoes and I'm getting ready to take an exam very soon, it might be nice to kind of know where these muscles are, know what they look like, and be able to identify them. So right there on top, right here is the humerus. You have your extensor muscles, you have your extensor muscle tendon, and you have your lateral epicondyle. Okay. So one of the fundamental things I learned, and I told you guys in the past that a lot of fundamental things don't change. For the most part, ligaments, right? When you think about ligaments keep bones together. They attach bones together, right? Tendons attach muscle to bone. Okay, so that's one of the fundamentals. So for example, let's say for example in exam, and once again I don't know what's being asked, right? If I come across this, I know for a fact these are muscles. Okay, that is a bone, and this most likely this muscle here that is attached to this bone, this right here is most likely a tendon. So when you come to the workshop, I show you guys a lot of ways to figure things out to give yourself a fair chance to get the answer right. Okay. You want to give yourself a fair chance to answer the question. All right. So let me stop sharing my screen. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Where is 1 second, guys? Okay. We can actually leave it on. That's fine. We can leave it on. We can leave it on. Okay. So ask me any questions. I know it's late night. If you can't think of anything right now, you can possibly send me a message via my channel here, or you can send an email to akaluso, the number 40 at gmail.com. That's akaluso, the number 40 at gmail.com. I know I've spoken to some of you. You send me emails and I've answered your questions. And I know it's been very, very helpful. So if you have general questions, once again, the questions I answer are not about what I call knowledge base, right? Because a lot of you are actively studying. You know a lot. It's all about how to put these things together to answer questions. So the same thing in the workshop. I'm not going to come to the workshop, for example, telling you reading stuff like I did earlier. I was just doing this just to do a high level overview of what this is, right? So well, that's what I mean by questions. If you have questions about how my workshops work, what we do in there, what we cover, I can answer that question. But as far as your knowledge base, you are responsible for your knowledge base. Okay. And I do realize that a lot of us know a lot. And for some of us, we know not as much. There's gaps. Okay. It's not a fault of your own, but I talk about coming in and filling that gap. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. So I talk about coming in and filling that gap. Okay. For some of you, it's your test taking skills, having those test taking skills so you can cross the bridge. When I use the phrase cross the bridge, I'm talking about you getting to the point of passing your exam. And all these things are possible. Okay. And once again, I always put myself in your shoes. Like a lot of times when the exam is coming up, I feel like I'm the one that is about to take an exam, even though I took my exam a long time ago. But I still have that feeling. And I know how you feel. I've been through PTA school. I've been through the rigors of doing skill comps. I've done rotations. I'm actively working at the moment. So I do understand what a lot of us are going through, and I want you to succeed. I know when I do my videos, a lot of people pick out a lot of things out of my video, which is good. And a lot of things I say and I repeat them is for the sake of emphasis to let all of us know that we will be answering 180 hot questions, right? But we can still navigate the process and pass. All right, so I'll stop there for now. Possibly tomorrow, I plan on going live as much as possible. It's just sometimes during the weekday, it's a little rough for me. By the time I get back, it's late. I have things to do, and the next day is work, right? So that's just what it is. But once again, if you have any questions for me, like I said, as far as like the coaching, how it goes, what we cover in the coaching workshop, if you have little questions like that, ask. You can send an email, akaluso@gmail.com. If you like to join the workshop, same thing. You send an email to the same address. Okay. So I appreciate you guys for joining. I appreciate you for liking and sharing and subscribing. The channel is gradually growing. The channel is fairly new, but I'm not new to the world of physical therapy. Okay. So I've been a physical therapist assistant for quite some time. So I have a lot of knowledge and wisdom to share as far as like working, what to expect on a job, and things like that. Okay, I can share a lot of information and wisdom with a lot of us. All right, so I'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate you guys for joining at this time, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Just have a great week. Thank you so much for your time, and bye-bye.